Hello, and thank you for listening to this Ringside Report Network podcast today. You can find more in-depth, exclusive written content on our website at ringsidereport.net. Before I hand it off to Dave and the team, I want to remind you that we are a listener-supported creator team. On our website, we would appreciate it if you supported our sponsors or purchased our exclusive merch. Branded clothing, mugs, and even jiu-jitsu gear, which are available only in our store. You can become a recurring supporter of our content at membership.ringsidereport.net. This, along with all our podcasts, is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon, iHeart, and TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. It would help us immensely if you left a positive review on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Thank you for your support and enjoy the show.
The WWE releases a bunch of wrestlers. SmackDown going on right now. It's Wrestling Uncensored, and we are live. Ooh, hey, it's live. We're live. It's breaking news. There's a lot happening. It's pro wrestling talk. It's Johnny North. Hey. Hey,
How's it
man.
going, Dave?
What's up, dude?
Well, I guess we got breaking news, right? Like a bunch of people have been fired,
The news is breaking.
escorted from the property, I guess. No longer allowed at WWE headquarters.
Well, I don't know if they're banned.
They've been asked to leave forever.
Not forever. You know, when you get released from the WWE, it doesn't mean that you're gone forever. We're looking at R-Truth right now. R-Truth and Randy Orton. R-Truth has been released by the WWE. He's there. He's there right now. Sometimes
That's
they bring
true.
you back.
That's true, yeah. He's quite different now. But yeah, he came back.
Yep. Didn't they release like R-Truth at one point too and bring him back? Like not
I believe
K-Quick.
I was going to say, I thought he was just K-Quick that he released. I don't believe ever since they brought him back, he's been released.
You might be right. You're probably right, but I feel like maybe at one point he was released and then brought back. I don't know. But we're watching SmackDown right now. SmackDown is happening. It has been very boring. SmackDown's not been fun tonight.
It's been long, and it just keeps going. We've seen some unfortunate errors on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Feel bad for you because I know how much you like Pretty Deadly, but
Yeah.
there were some problems in that match.
And it wasn't Pretty Deadly's fault.
Not really.
Not really. How are you going to blame a guy, this guy Frazier, Nathan Frazier? He hit a standing shooting star that busted Elton Prince's lip wide open. It was just bleeding profusely.
I think his forearm or whatever he maybe has on his forearm like got right on the jaw, and like it looked like it probably broke his jaw because there's a lot of blood.
There's a lot of blood. The Miz and R-Truth were released September 2011. No, that can't be true.
That was a storyline.
That was a gimmick. That wasn't real.
Yeah.
No. Miz was never released. I know that. But he hit this standing shooting star that busted Elton's face open. Like, that's not supposed to happen. That's not Elton's fault. He's just lying there. He's trusting the guy not to break his jaw on a shooting star press. And this guy's new, Nathan Frazier. I hear the Blues are calling. Tossed out of here and scrambled eggs. Frazier has left the building. That's a Frazier reference for all you Frazier fans. I'm sure there's many out there still watching Frazier as I am.
Well, I know AJ used to watch Cheers, so maybe he'll get that one at least, possibly.
God, I love Frazier.
It was fun. I'm still more of a Sideshow Bob fan, but I appreciate what Frazier was.
I'm getting facts. R-Truth was released in 2004 when he was K-Quick. And then he was in TNA for a while. He did some other stuff, came back in 2008, and has not been released. He's been with the company for 16 years.
I love what we're just getting facts phoned in here. It's good.
Thank you. The production team is very good on this show. Very good. Top of the line.
Going back to that tag match, though, the mistakes didn't stop there, though.
Well, Elton, when he got his lip busted open, he obviously was supposed to kick out, but he was just so out of it from getting his face smashed in that he didn't, and the ref went 1, 2, and then stopped, and it was clear what had happened, because then Elton kind of turned around, and you see all this blood coming from his face. You're like, oh, he was supposed to kick, but he didn't because his face exploded. Awkward moment for the ref. The ref should have just counted 3.
Or stop the match, maybe, possibly, too. That's another idea.
But whatever happened to, like, protecting the referee, and if your shoulders are down, you get counted, whatever. You got to kick out. Whatever happened to that?
Well, I think maybe in this case, just maybe stop the match due to injury, because I think clearly there was an injury. I think protect the wrestler right there. I think that should have been the key. Because then it also went downhill after that pin attempt afterwards. I don't know if you caught that afterwards, where they had another pin attempt, and the referee, 1, 2, and you heard her clear as day say 3, and that wasn't the finish.
And then the finish was Frazier doing another flip thing on the top rope, and he landed on Wilson's face, too. He landed on the other guy's face.
Very scary.
Yeah. Like, who is this guy? He sucks. Fraxium.
Well, they mentioned that he was trained by one of your favorite wrestlers, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, another, as our favorite wrestler of all time would say, dangerous wrestler. Not safe. That's what Bret Hart said about Seth Rollins. Yeah, Nathan Frazier was trained by Seth Rollins, and of course Bret Hart famously said how he was an unsafe worker, which, he hurt Sting pretty bad. Didn't take care of Sting. He broke his neck. Hurt Finn Balor.
I think Bret was referring to like when he busted Cena's nose.
That too.
Yeah.
Broke Cena's nose. Seth had a lot of guys he hurt. And here he is, Nathan Frazier, his student, doing the same thing to Pretty Deadly. But I guess because it's just Pretty Deadly, the push will continue for Fraxium on SmackDown. Because who cares about those guys? I guess. Like, I don't know how they're going to be treated after this. Because to me, I don't want to work with Nathan Frazier after that. If I saw him do that to Pretty Deadly and I'm the Motor City Machine Guns, I go, no. I'm not letting him do that to me. Why would you want to work with this kid?
I imagine they're going to have a talk. They haven't already done it backstage. And just saying, like, look, this worked. This clearly didn't work. You need to work on it. I just found, I don't know how you found it, but I think Frazier works a little too fast. And it's great that he's agile and he can do, like, amazing maneuvers in and out of the ring. It's fantastic. It just maybe slow it down a little bit. And obviously safety first. Like, that's the biggest thing. You want to make it look good, but you also don't want to kill the people that you're working with as well.
Didn't like it. Didn't like any part of it. I didn't like that they were hurting my guys Pretty Deadly, and I also didn't like that Pretty Deadly is now in this spot where they're jobbing to Fraxium. On the booking end of it, it was like, what? I didn't like that one bit.
Yes, well, no boy tonight, sadly.
Yeah, no
Fraxium's the new thing, though. I mean, you got to look at it. They even mentioned on commentary, they're the new fresh thing, so they're going to push that like crazy until they get the title shot, I think.
Right. I'm not impressed by their performance, okay? I don't have that button on for this show. My GSP button.
For that one.
Only for Ringside. It's too bad. I should have it on every show. I should have my GSP not impressed. Can we get that button on for this show too? We got open button spots. He's gonna do it for me. What a guy. I love it. I'm not impressed by your performance. Aleister Black, speaking of not impressed by your performance. Yuck.
Well, to be fair, he was wrestling The Miz. Like, it's not like The Miz was going to give him the best match ever, so.
I know. It was so long. It was so bad. Awful.
I know we've been talking a lot during this, but I haven't been too impressed by Santos Escobar versus Rey Fenix either that we're watching right now, or casually watching.
I haven't been too impressed by Santos Escobar, period.
I feel like he had his moments when he was U.S. champion. It felt like he was really like pushing it, trying to show that he deserved to be the champion. But ever since then, yeah, not so much.
Just in the ring, it's just nothing. Like, I don't know. Like, what's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing right now. He's just talking.
You know what I mean? Like, he's doing this. He's got like a half Nelson on him on the ground in the corner and just kind of yelling at the camera. It's nothing. He's just lying on top of him and he just throws him back on the mat. And Phoenix sells like crazy for some reason. You know, it's just. I'm not impressed by your performance. Thank you, Santos Escobar. Hey, Santos Escobar. I'm not impressed by your performance. Excellent. I love it.
You might need to keep that button. You might hear it again. Or might need it again later tonight, possibly.
You know what button we're going to keep hearing all summer, John?
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
They won again. But your Red Sox won too, so.
I think it's good for all of baseball when the Yankees and Red Sox are good.
Agreed.
Because more than likely, there's a good chance we'll see them in the postseason against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people want to see. It's two rivalry teams against each other.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
I did see the Yankees kind of get a little unprofessional. I think it was last game, if I'm not mistaken. Bit of a bench clearing brawl bit that happened almost, looked like.
That was the Orioles guy fault. That guy was just all over. He was ridiculous. He was just yelling at Pablo Reyes because Reyes jumped in the air to like catch a ball and happened to land on the Orioles guy who was sliding in, completely incidental, not trying to hurt him or anything. And then the Orioles guy started yelling at him, and then the benches cleared, but nothing happened. That wasn't the Yankees' fault at all. Also, the Yankees aren't fighting over Pablo Reyes because, like, who cares about Pablo Reyes? He's just, like, a bench player. I think that was his first start of the season. He's not, like, a guy that we're protecting. He's not Anthony Volpe, you know? He's not Paul Goldschmidt. We're fighting for Goldie. We're fighting for Volpe. I'm even fighting for Oswaldo Cabrera. But I'm not fighting for Pablo Reyes. Guy's a scrub. He's going to be DFA'd in a month or two. He won't be on the team by the end of the season. Who cares? That was a dumb nothing.
Well, I just read something where there's been history with that. The Yankees and the Orioles. That's been brewing for a bit, so.
Well.
People weren't surprised, apparently.
Whatever. Yankees are in first place. Orioles are in last place, okay? That's all that is really relevant at this point. That was not a fight. That was nothing. It was a big nothing. Big nothing, John. How about this? This is not nothing. The breaking news, we should get to it. The WWE has released several wrestlers on their roster. Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Cora Jade, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, Gigi Dolan, Gallus, the group Gallus, and Jakara Jackson have all been released.
It's a lot of NXT, it sounds like. A couple of the main roster, not too many. And not surprising when you bring in new talent, some talent are going to be shown the door.
Post-Mania releases. We see it every year. Pretty much every year. Like
I think
WrestleMania. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, just the one that I think really caught people's eye and I think has gotten people upset about is Dakota Kai. Because I guess she had such a strong fan base and they were kind of using her, sort of, when they were bringing in the IC title, like, because she had that shot, she was there, she was one of the first ones to fight for it, and people really wanted her to win. And then she got a rematch, but she didn't win. And then she always come back from injury, get hurt, come back. And she was in that faction Damage Control, which Io Sky was in. I don't know what's happened to that now. So I think that seems to be what people are most upset about, because they felt there was more that could have been done with her.
Damage Control. I don't know what that is anymore. I don't know where Kyrie is. I guess Kyrie's hurt. Kyrie Sane.
Yep.
Asuka's been hurt for like a year or two at this point. Asuka's like
I think almost
around.
2, yeah.
She might be retired. Who knows? And that's the group, right? That's the whole group. Io's there. She's a champion. I mean, Io's doing her own thing. So I guess Damage Control just kind of dissolved. I don't know what Kyrie does when she comes back. I'm glad they didn't fire Kyrie. She's awesome. I'd like them to do way more with her when she comes back. Hopefully they do. Give her a singles push. You know? Kyrie's very good. I feel like they haven't done nearly as much with her since she's come back as they did before she got released.
I think you're right, but
like they pushed her way stronger back when she was teaming with Asuka and everything. Like she was pushed strong, and then when they brought her back and she was part of Damage Control, it's just like, oh yeah, she's also there. They pushed her as strong as Dakota Kai, which was like not very.
But I think that goes hand in hand with the Asuka like injuries. That I think maybe they wanted to bring back the Kabuki Warriors, but they never got the chance to do that again. So she's just kind of there because they were waiting for that to happen, but they could never do it.
Yeah, you might be right about that. But Dakota Kai getting released. There's Rey Fenix getting the win over Santos Escobar with a big Meteora from the top.
Can we talk about that too? Like, you notice a lot of people are using like the same moves over and over again in matches a lot.
A lot of Meteoras. Everybody's a big Sasha Banks fan.
Well, that and moonsaults. Like, I don't want to pick on Zelina Vega too much, but when the women's champion does like a triple jump moonsault, and then you do a moonsault as a falsie, it kind of takes away a little bit, no, from like the other champion's finisher, no?
Maybe. I didn't make the connection, though. Because Tiffy's moonsault is so different.
I mean,
it's unique to her. Like, a lot of people can do a moonsault, but nobody does it like Tiffy time.
Sure. I think you could say that about a lot of things, too. Like, Randy Orton hits an RKO like him. But
yeah, you could do a cutter, but there's only one RKO. You know what I mean? I think it's fine.
Yeah, you could say that.
But nobody does a cutter on SmackDown.
It's just, you're on the same show. You know, you're also a champion, and you're doing moves very similar to the other champion on the show. I'm just like, why can't you do something different?
I don't know. Maybe she did it first. She's like, whatever.
Well, I think a lot of them are just like, I'll just do whatever I want kind of thing until someone tells me no.
Yeah. Whatever. Dakota Kai released. Shayna Baszler released. I could see Shayna and Dakota both going to AEW.
Apparently, I saw on like the ticker. Apparently, Shayna's like released a statement. Is that on X or something? I don't know if you've seen that or not. Like, because I can't imagine Shayna's too mad about her WWE run. I think she had a very good run. Maybe it could have been a bit better if they actually capitalized with her on WrestleMania, but Vince didn't want that to happen. So that kind of sealed her fate, where she's in the mix, but she will never be the top female in any division whatsoever. She'll just be around. She was a multiple-time women's tag team champion, and she had little things with Ronda. That was not too bad, but we knew that wasn't going to go anywhere because they kind of had a glass ceiling on how far they wanted to push her.
There is Shayna. No one can offer what I have to offer, reality. Let the galaxy burn. So there's a Shayna Baszler statement after her release from the WWE.
I mean, it would make sense in AEW, her.
Yeah.
There's definitely a position there.
Her and Marina?
With or against, I could
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, there's a lot you could do there. Shayna's very good, you know? She would fit in well in AEW, I think. Same for Dakota. I think both of them could be AEW bound.
I think with Dakota, it's sad to say, I'm sure people will get upset about this, but she has been injury prone for a while. And I think maybe that was the thing, is that WWE just finally gave up because she had a lot of injuries. I don't know if you remember recently, she took like that drop kick, and then we didn't see her for a while on Raw. Like, it happened very recently. So
yeah, she spent a big chunk of her WWE career hurt. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I see potential there. I see what people are saying. I get it. But she's had a lot of setbacks, sadly. And I think WWE just decided to finally show her the door.
How about Cora Jade? That was an interesting one because she's young. They have her in NXT. I thought they were going to do something with her. I guess the tide turned on her. I don't know what exactly went wrong for Cora Jade, but she's 24 years old. They seem to have a lot of hopes in her.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, gone.
Well, again with injuries. I could be mistaken here, but I think she's at least torn her ACL twice, maybe 3 times already. So that's rough when that happens. It's not a great reason to release someone, especially that young. You think that maybe there's time, but maybe they just didn't see the progression. Because how long was she in NXT for? I feel like she's been there for a while.
She got signed in 2021.
So that's it. Maybe they've just...
But she tore her ACL in, hang on, 2024. And then she came back.
I think she definitely tore her ACL before that.
Yeah, but they still got Rey Mysterio under contract, and he basically has no knees. So what are we talking about? She's 24.
I don't disagree with you whatsoever. Like, it's weird how it's okay for some to be injured and they'll give them time, and then others, well, they just run out of time with them pretty much. I completely see that, but I also see the fact that they have only so many roster spots. And they keep filling them up. They got a bunch of new, especially in NXT. Like, it feels like they have a bunch of new people in NXT. And we just saw on Raw and SmackDown, we've been overwhelmed with new talent. So you knew this was going to happen, I think.
Just surprised that they released Cora Jade. She was honestly the biggest surprise of the bunch because I thought, well, she's so young and she's in NXT, and I thought they were going to push her. I thought they were doing stuff with her. Apparently not. She's gone. Maybe AEW picks her up, but she seems to be hinting at just going the modeling route, if you know what I mean. The subscription-based modeling service.
You're talking like Mandy Rose kind of thing? Or?
Yeah. I think she's going in that direction. She's just going to not take bumps, take pictures of herself, and make way more money doing that, which seems smart. You know, seems like the move.
I think her body will appreciate it more. So
yeah,
maybe it's a win for everybody in that case.
I think that's what you should be doing, man. Stop taking bumps and just start taking pictures of yourself without a shirt on or something. Sell them to people for money. You can do it, John. You can do it. Live the dream. Live the Mandy Rose dream.
I appreciate that, but I actually like beating myself up.
I know.
Bit of a masochist.
You're a sick bastard. I know. We know. Oh, what a great wrestler you are, John. What a great wrestler. Braun Strowman, not as good as you at wrestling, but he is gigantic. So he has that going for him. But his run in the WWE, his most recent run, he's been released before and brought back, and then now released again. And this run, he just didn't look great physically. It looked like he really had a hard time moving around. Just running seemed like a struggle for him. And he made no impact whatsoever. Had a few matches here and there, was used barely. It was odd the way they used him. He was just kind of on the roster. They brought him out to be like a monster once in a while. It was a little like late Big Show-ish, where it's just like, oh yeah, here he is. You need like a baby face to be big and scary. I get Braun Strowman. Call him, have him come to the TV for like 3-4 weeks, and then send him back home for a while. Call him again when you need him. It was weird. He was put on the bench. They say Nick Khan's like, oh, we don't put anybody on the bench. Braun Strowman was put on the bench a bunch and then brought back. And then, he was a bench player for WWE, which is odd because he's so big and he was pushed at a main event level at one time. But physically, he seems like he had struggles.
Well, we kind of talked about, or you talked about, I think, last week about the things Paul Heyman said during the roast. And I guess he said this mainly during Pat McAfee's show, if I'm not mistaken, or a show that Pat McAfee was doing a little bit after WrestleMania, saying that Braun Strowman was like complaining to him about not being on WrestleMania, and then Paul Heyman saying that he sucks. That's why he was on the show.
Wow. Yeah, and he did say that, right? Heyman said that about Strowman. Yeah. He said that he told Strowman, Strowman was complaining to him about not being at WrestleMania, and he said it's because you suck. Crazy.
And I think we're being nicer than Heyman, actually, because I think Heyman was even meaner, because I think Heyman said that Strowman was crying to him that he wasn't on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So that's never a good sign when someone who I consider like a top star or top like personality is
top mind in WWE for sure, like one of the, Triple H cronies.
When they're burying you, that's not good. That means you need a lot of help, and I guess there wasn't much time for him after that, clearly.
He was on the outs with The Office, clearly, and he got the boot. If you're Tony Khan, do you make the call to Big Braun Strowman? I wouldn't, honestly. I don't think he has a place in AEW.
Yeah, I don't know where he fits. And by the way, we're getting Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax next week. Wow. We've seen that before. It wasn't pretty the first time.
Oof. It won't be better this time. Nia Jax, Jade Cargill next week on SmackDown for a #1 contender spot at the Tiffy Time World Title. Wow. And we're about to see a tag match, playa, that could be rough. The main event of SmackDown is about to be Jade Cargill and Tiffy Time versus Nia Jax and Naomi. This could go...
But it's a tag.
Right? It's a tag match.
It's a tag. It's a tag.
It could
like,
go
I don't think
wrong.
it'll be that... It could, but I don't think it'll be that crazy. Like, I don't think it'll be... I mean, maybe it'll make Botchamania, but not that much. Next week, though, oh boy. And by the way, Nia kind of has to win that match, because, I mean, who do you think is going to face Tiffy at Backlash? I think Nia for sure, right? So, good luck with how they've done those Nia and Jade finishes. We've seen that, how that bad that was the first time they did that.
Refresh my memory. What happened?
They did something with a chair or something where Nia hit her with the chair, but the ref didn't see her. So then Jade hit her with the chair, but then the ref saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Ugh.
I think she missed her too with the chair, if I'm not mistaken, the first time. Something like that happened. It was kind of sloppy.
So bad. Would you sign Braun Strowman AEW?
Like, I just don't see where he fits. If anything, TNA, I think, is probably a better home for him right now.
Yeah, but then he'll just wind up in NXT anyways.
I mean, at least he's working.
Yeah. Yeah. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, one less tag team in the women's tag division. It's not great.
I mean, were they really doing anything? Yes, they were tag champions. We saw them as tag champions when they came to Laval, but I mean, we kind of knew that was just going to run its course, and it kind of did. They were transitional champions at the time, and they just kind of filled the spot, and they filled their roles, and now they're gone pretty much. I mean, I'm not too surprised. We never really got to know them that well. They were the party girls, but what did they do anything that was so party-like besides have music that seemed like rave kind of music? You never really got to know their personalities because I don't think they had any.
Yeah.
Hard to care when they didn't give us much to care about.
But Katana Chance has been with the company for a long time, no?
I feel like, yeah, she was in NXT like before COVID, no? I want to say she dated Ricochet at one point, no?
Yeah, I think so. She's been
some
there
people,
a while.
They give a lot of them a long time. Remember Aaliyah? How long she was in like NXT? Like a very long time.
Yeah.
They eventually
she was an American Ninja
up.
Warrior. She signed with WWE in 2017. She's been with the company for 8 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But besides that, like that's a great accomplishment. But WWE wise, she was kind of always under the radar. Like she was there, but not very noticeable. And that's the thing. Like when you think about up and coming talent, who can you cut? I think she was an easy cut.
Kaden Carter signed in 2018 as part of the Mae Young Classic. She's been with the company for 7 years, which I'm surprised by. I didn't realize she's been WWE for that long. Do the developmental thing, the NXT thing for a while.
I always remember just when I'd randomly tune into NXT, like she'd almost always be on. So it's kind of, yeah, it makes sense that she's been there that long. It makes sense. It's kind of too bad they didn't do more with her, but again, if you don't have the personality, you're not going to last in WWE. That's a big thing. You need personality to survive.
Braun Strowman, 41 years old. That was probably his last run with WWE, right? That's it.
I mean, when you think about it, for a big man to have like how many years now in wrestling, it's pretty like impressive, and it's hard to actually maintain that. I'd be very surprised. Maybe he might make another appearance here or there, but yeah, I think as a full-time wrestler, I'd be very surprised if it ever happened again.
Interesting career for the monster among men, Braun Strowman, released by the WWE today.
Think about it, though, like when he came back, because the Wyatt Six debuted around that time too, so
yeah.
The fact that they never used him with the Wyatt Six and are clearly never going to do it, I think it's a bit of a miss.
It would have been a way to make that group way better and to do something with him. And now they have, like, they didn't fire any of those guys, by the way.
Not yet.
Right? Not yet, but still, you go, those guys are still under contract. And, yeah, they should have put Braun Strowman with those guys, because those guys are just dead weight. They're on the bench. I thought you didn't bench people, Nick Khan. Where is Dexter Lumis if he's not on the bench, motherfucker? Fucking Nick Khan.
Well, the thing is, too, what happened to Alexa Bliss? Wasn't she supposed to be involved with them, too? Like, wasn't she a big deal, like, at Chamber and now just gone? So it's very weird what's going on with some talent that are big stars 1 second and now gone the next. It's very weird what's going on.
People just disappear. Well, you got to make room, John, because you got to have Pat McAfee wrestle, you know? Got to bench some real wrestlers so that Pat McAfee can wrestle Gunther at Backlash. I didn't need this.
No. I appreciate the promo that he cut. I didn't believe a word of what he said, but I appreciate the effort that he put into that promo, because I think he put a lot of effort in that promo to make it seem like people should care about him. I don't care about him whatsoever. I hope he gets hurt a lot, but
yeah, I hope
good
Gunther
for
kills him.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I hope stiffs the crap out of him. But I think this is the opening for, and you're going to hate this, I think this is the opening for Goldberg to come back.
To, like, help McAfee?
Well, I think Gunther's going to put a beat down on him, right? He's going to win the match easily.
Yeah.
Put a beat down on him, and then that's when Goldberg is just going to hit.
Okay. And then Goldberg wrestles Gunther at some point?
Yeah. They might drag that out, too. We might only get that like at SummerSlam, Gunther versus Goldberg, but I think we're definitely going in that direction.
Goldberg. Why Goldberg? Is just rumors about Goldberg, or like why?
Well, Goldberg confirmed he's going to have another match, and it's going to be in WWE, so
okay,
it just makes a lot of sense.
The Gunt. Okay. Gunther and Goldberg. I guess Gunther's getting all the awful wrestlers now. He has to wrestle McAfee and Goldberg. Poor guy.
Well, one could say he had, wrestled Jey Uso too. It was kind of rough too. But...
Come on, at least Jey Uso's a wrestler.
I enjoyed Jay's promo this week.
Yes.
Again, he can talk good. The wrestling's a little sloppy, but talking, he's got no problem with that. I enjoy his talking.
I thought his segment with Logan Paul went over well on Raw this week. I like the direction. And I like Logan Paul as an opponent for Jey Uso because it's somebody that you really want to see Jey Uso beat. You're like, well, Jey Uso can't lose the belt here to this guy. Like, that would be bad. It's an opponent where you can get everybody behind Jey Uso to make sure that Jey Uso wins this match, Like, no one wants to see Logan Paul as the world champion. He's not a real wrestler. It would be annoying. It's unnecessary. Especially now, when Raw and SmackDown doesn't really have a world champion around. Like, John Cena is not around. He's the champion. He's not there. Cody Rhodes is like the second in command champion. He's also not around, by the way. Haven't seen him since Mania. Roman Reigns is the other guy that you want to see. He's also not there. So if Logan Paul is the world champion and Cody and Roman and John Cena are never around, and Logan Paul's only there once in a while, like what is TV? What are you watching? You really can't do that.
Well, I read somewhere that they said that CM Punk's going to be on pretty much every PLE, I think. So that's a good sign. Obviously, probably won't be on Backlash, but
yeah.
Hopefully he'll be on the other ones. And we already answered that, by the way, Angelo. Like, we don't know what happened to the Wyatt 6.
It failed, and now they're trying to fix it. They haven't given up on it.
They aren't released yet. The day's not done, too, so we'll never know.
That's true. SmackDown's not over yet, brother. So they just disappeared because they suck. I hope Gunther kills Pat McAfee. I hope Jey Uso beats Logan Paul. Logan Paul and Uso, though, doesn't seem to be Backlash. I think that's going to be Saturday night's main event.
I mean, that's better because I don't think they put enough hype into Jey Uso and Logan Paul. It came out of absolute nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just to give it only 2 weeks build. It's better for Jey Uso for his first defense to actually maybe close to a month's worth. And Saturday night's main event's at almost the end of May, right?
May 24th. It's 2 weeks after Backlash. Like, Backlash is next week, and then 2 weeks after that, like not the following Saturday, but the Saturday after that, they got Saturday night's main event. And you figure they want to book a big match for that. And the last time they did Saturday night's main event, it was Jey Uso and Gunther for the world title. So I think, they like to have some continuation. Like, you saw this guy on the last show that you watched on NBC on Saturday night, so here he is again, and he's the world champion now, They like to do that, and I think Logan Paul, Jey Uso is like a big enough match where you're going to get people to tune in. You have Randy Orton and John Cena as the big draw for Backlash. I don't think you need to add like Logan Paul challenging Jey Uso for the world title, because that is like a good draw match, because Logan Paul is a big star, like a mainstream-ish star, and him challenging Jey Uso is like a legit threat at Jey Uso, because he's a new champion and he's kind of, not fully credible, and you could see just about anybody at any given time taking the belt off of Jey Uso. So I think, that's a good selling point for Saturday night's main event, and you need something because they want to make that show special. So I think they do the world title match there, and you just add a match or two to Backlash. But already the card, you got 4 matches. John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE title. That's next week in St. Louis, next Saturday. Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. Pat McAfee versus Gunther. And Jacob Fatu defending the U.S. title in a fatal 4-way against LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. That was made tonight on SmackDown. 4 matches. I think maybe they do 5 max. 6, I'd say, at the very, very maximum, but probably 5.
I mean, they could do 4. It's not impossible the way they've been going. So stay tuned.
Yeah. And then next week on SmackDown, you got Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. Winner faces Tiffy Time for the title. Is that at Backlash, or is that a Saturday night's main event?
It's a good question. Also, something happened right with for the Raw World Tag Titles, because Judgment Day lost to the War Raiders, right? So the War Raiders, I guess, are possibly number 1 contenders now. They could sell that. So we might get New Day versus War Raiders again.
Yeah.
I can see that at Backlash.
Yeah. That could happen. Not the most exciting, but, something.
I mean, that's it. It's something. I don't mind New Day. I think New Day's fine. It's just they need better competition. They lack competition, I think, on Raw.
They have no competition. Who are the tag teams?
We mentioned like Judgment Day, War Raiders. Then you're going to have to really look for stuff.
There's nobody else. There are no tag teams.
You could say Braun and Seth, right? That's a team, I suppose.
Yeah, but Seth is like the boss and Braun is the goon. We saw that this week. Yeah. Seth Rollins telling Sami Zayn, "You got to decide, Sami. Ha 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 ha. Are you going to be with me or against me?" I don't like this Seth Rollins. He's like a heel, but he's kind of acting a bit like a babyface. He's slapping hands with the crowd on his walk to the ring.
Yep.
What is that?
It's called, he doesn't want to give up his overness. That's the problem, I think. Because he's still like, people react to him, right? Mainly because of the music.
Commit to being a heel, motherfucker. What is he doing? It's so annoying. Commit.
Yeah, well, like Ryan said, you got to dump the song.
Yeah.
And obviously the personality a little bit too.
Yeah.
He can be annoying. He's very good at being annoying, but
they like
you gotta
it.
Stop.
And he wants him to sing the song. Like he's still a babyface. It doesn't make sense.
I noticed the crowd wasn't really going along with him though too, because he's like he wanted him to go say CM Punk. They weren't doing it.
Yeah.
He was kind of pissed by that.
And like he's doing this thing with Sami Zayn, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Sami, you got to join me. You can't, Jey Uso's not the way. You got to be with me. You're my friend, Sami." and I'm taking over here, and if you don't like it, well, you should leave. You should go to SmackDown. Paul Heyman can arrange a move to SmackDown. So you got to make a decision tonight, Sami Zayn. Right?
Make the big trade, apparently. And then he'll be number one contender. That's what they offered him, too. Apparently, They can do this all. He gets traded to SmackDown. He'll be number one contender after Orton and Cena.
Mm-hmm. So he has Sami Zayn now decide, what he's going to do. And, of course, Jey Uso has words for Sami, and Karrion Kross has an opinion, and Sami's backstage acting and being emotional and wondering what he should do. Should he join Seth, or should he say, no, go to hell? Which is what he did say. Very dramatic. Go to hell, Seth Rollins. They talked about how they're friends, and they're such good friends, and their kids are friends, and they love each other, and it just. Could we fucking stop with the bromance storylines in wrestling? It's been done to death. Like, I'm sick of dudes being romantic with each other on wrestling. Like, AEW did it. They started a trend, I think, with Kenny and the Bucks and all the drama and everything. And now it's just like all storylines are about, you're my friend and I love you, but you've done this to me, and how could you? And, like, dudes don't operate like that. Maybe Triple H and Shawn operate like that because they're more than friends. But regular dudes that are just friends don't operate like that. You're my friend. You gotta join me. Because I know the way to the future of WWE. If you were really my friend, like if John, you were like, dude, you gotta join me. I know the future. I'm telling you, I got this idea. I got Braun Breaker. Look at him. I got Paul Heyman. Things are going real well. I'd be like, yeah, that seems about right. I'm going to go along with you. You beat Roman. You beat CM Punk. I don't like Punk that much. So, yeah, okay. Sounds good. I'm down.
Right.
We're friends. Yeah, sure. Sounds good, dude. Let's do that. Let's try that. Heyman seems cool. I don't know about Braun, but, like, yeah, he seems all right, I guess. You know what I mean? If you're actually friends, that's how the conversation would go. It wouldn't be like, I got to think about this. Really sad and emotional. It's like, what is all this shit? It's so dumb. And it's very like, why are they so romantic with each other? I love you so much. We're so close, and I can't believe that you're doing this and making me choose. CM Punk is my best friend. I can't believe he'd make me choose between him and my tribal chief, who I worship. Shut up. It's a little, I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm saying.
Well,
As The Rock would say, cum si, cum sa.
I think the problem is they had something with Roman and Paul, right? And Heyman. Roman and Heyman, they had something. They had a good chemistry together, but there was a lot of acting involved, right? And Jade just won the match, so she's
power bomb off the top rope on Nia Jax, brother.
Clearly not going to win next week.
Nah, but Jade won the tag match.
Like Roman and Paul, so much acting, the music in the background, like clearly just trying to be in movies, and now they're trying to recreate that with Seth and Paul, where Paul is the scheming kind of horrible human being, but then Seth goes in with the be emotional and try to be friendly, and then I'll turn on you. Like it's the whole sad and then anger thing that he's trying to do.
Yeah,
but the acting is so bad that you don't really want to watch it because one, it's beyond telegraphed. You can tell where it's going.
Yeah,
and it's just so cheesy. And like you said, no one in their right mind who doesn't live in a soap opera-like universe would ever say anything that they're saying.
No, it's overly dramatic, dumb nonsense. And that's just how they're filling time. Triple H is dumbass booking that shit. oh, this is so good. Me and Sean have fights like this all the time. I tell him, I know the future of WWE. I know what's best for business. And he's like, I don't think so. And I'm like, and then we cry and we kiss and hug. And eventually I call Stephanie and she tells me what to do. And then I do it. And me and Sean are friends again. But I pedigree him in the meantime. I punish Sean in my own way. It's just dumb, man. It's so dumb. So he's like, oh, we're such great friends, Sammy. You must join me. And Sammy's like, go to hell. I'm not joining you. And it's like, why? Why not? You just talked about how close you guys are.
But I kind of get Sammy's. He brought up a good point. How like Seth, it looks like he's trying to manipulate him a bit. Like I get that. What hurts is Heyman, because Heyman comes off as a very much like a scheming individual, where it's like, I can't trust this. Seth, you're okay with this? Like there's a problem, because Heyman, it's no good. So I kind of get Sammy's view. It's just, again, way too over dramatic, and
Sammy,
you'd be more straight to the point.
Sammy now has a problem with Heyman?
That's another, because he brought the whole bloodline thing too, right? Yeah, he tried to be quite the scheming individual with that, but yeah.
Sammy now has a problem with Paul Heyman. He has a problem with Paul Heyman at this point. Why? Why? He was in the bloodline. Heyman was there. Sammy loved it. He broke up with the bloodline. Okay, he had his beefs and everything. But last I checked, he was cool with Roman. And Heyman and Roman were tight when Sammy was around at Survivor Series. So why does Sammy hate Heyman?
I think there was, like, again, you have to really look back at the whole bloodline thing, but I think there were points where Heyman was like, oh, Sammy, you should do this. And then when it came down to it, Heyman was like, how could you do this, Sammy? You know, like, didn't have Sammy's back when he needed him.
He forgave Roman.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just because Seth is a heel. Except he's not really a heel, because he's still slapping hands with the fans as he walks down to the fucking ring.
And we'll probably wrestle like a face 2, doing dives every match that he has.
It was ridiculous. And the worst part about Seth not really healing out and not doing his job properly is that the payoff of this whole thing was Sami Zayn wrestling Braun Breaker. Because Seth is like, well, okay, you didn't join me, so now you have to suffer the consequences, which is wrestling Braun Breaker. So Braun comes out with Heyman. I like that Heyman is kind of like with Seth, but he's more with Braun. Like him and Braun are kind of the thing, and like Seth is like the leader, but it's Heyman and Braun. I feel like eventually Heyman and Braun will turn on Seth and branch off, but that's, I think, months away at this point, maybe a year. But Breaker has the match with Sammy, beats the hell out of Sammy. The match just ends because he speared Sammy like a million times and won't finish it. The referee calls for the bell. Braun Breaker's like, it's over when I say it's over. And I was like, oh, shit. Braun Breaker's great, you know? And the fans love him. We all love him. He's fantastic. He's intense. He's got ruthless aggression. He's a Steiner. He's fantastic. He's a very fun character to have on Monday Night Raw these days. He's a breath of fresh air. And he beat the hell out of Sammy, and the crowd loved it because they love Braun Breaker. And he kept beating up Sammy, and the crowd, after he speared Sammy, chanted one more time. This is supposed to be your top heel group on Raw, and they're cheering this underdog who's like really determined to win the world title, and he wants to do it, and he knows he can, and he's got to show his family he could do it. And the crowd is like, spear the shit out of that guy. Get him. And then Seth takes Braun. He's like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. And it looks like Seth has like empathy for Sammy. And you're like, okay, they're friends, whatever. And then he does a curb stomp on Sammy, and you're like, oh, Seth, you jerk. And then the crowd is like, that was awesome. Yeah, Seth. They're cheering for him. And then they're singing, whoa, as Sammy's like dead on the mat. They're supposed to be, boo, you suck, Seth. How could you do this to Sammy? We're supposed to love Sammy. But that didn't happen. What happened was Braun speared Sammy. The crowd was like, more. Seth curb stomped Sammy. The crowd was like, whoa. Yeah. And poor Sammy's sitting there like, shit, this didn't work, did it? Damn. There goes my babyface push to WrestleMania next year. You know? Because Seth just got it. Because Seth didn't really help me out. Didn't help me out.
Well, no.
You shouldn't say.
Think about
you shouldn't, as a heel, like The Rock, okay? The people wanted to sing along with the Great One. Right?
Right.
If you smell, and they would go, smell, and he would like, no. This isn't sing along with the Great One. When he was a babyface, you could do smell what The Rock was cooking with him. But when he was a heel, he said, no, this isn't sing along with the Great One. You shut your mouth. You don't deserve this. You don't get this. The millions and millions. Don't say the millions. Don't, you know. But Seth, as a heel, as a babyface, when the crowd is singing, he goes, no. He encourages it. As a heel, as soon as he turned with Heyman, he should have come out and stopped doing the maestro thing, because you're encouraging a babyface reaction, and you're supposed to be the top heel on Raw. But because your ego is so fragile and you cannot bear the crowd booing you and cheering CM Punk on a TV show, you have to keep doing oh. It's pathetic. And it's not doing anybody any favors, and you're not going to turn babyface off this, and you're not going to get a good babyface reaction off this, because Seth is the hotter babyface. Seth and Braun and Heyman, who are all beloved characters, who haven't changed a bit since their big turn at WrestleMania, they're all going to get positive reactions from the crowd. So if you're Sami Zayn hoping to get a big babyface rub off this, think again. It was really bad. I saw that whole thing go down. When he stomped Sammy and the crowd popped, I was like, ooh. They didn't just pop, they started singing. They started singing when he got his head caved in. You're like, dude, you're supposed to boo this out of the building. But it's not like it's Seth encouraging it. It's Seth doing his job improperly. Because, I will say this, because it's become abundantly clear, Seth Rollins is nowhere near as good as he thinks he is. You hear him do interviews, you hear him talk, and he's God's gift to wrestling in his mind. But you watch him and you go, yeah, you're all right. You know, you're pretty good. You're not Bryan Danielson. You're certainly not CM Punk. You're all right for your generation, I guess. Even then, you know?
No matter what you want, I think they want to have Seth versus Sammy next year at WrestleMania.
Yeah, for the belt. I think Sammy wins the Rumble. I think Sammy winning the Rumble is, like, done. The minute they announced it was in Saudi Arabia, I was like, guess who's winning the Rumble? Congratulations, Sami Zayn. When he got left off WrestleMania this year, I thought, oh, this is his like comeback redemption story. I was left off WrestleMania last year, but I won the Rumble this year, and now I'm in a main event WrestleMania, except you're going to open night one against Seth. Because there will be bigger matches. Dwayne will bump you. Something will happen. You won't main event. But you'll win the Rumble, and you'll get the world title next year. You'll get a little Jey Uso push. It's a consolation prize championship. Everybody knows it. They gave it to Priest. They gave it to Uso. They'll give it to Sammy. Everybody knows it.
All right, it's what he wants, right? He said a world championship. Didn't have to be WWE championship, just a world championship.
He kept saying the world championship. He was very clear to not say WWE championship because I think he knows that's not happening. He's not getting the main belt, but he's got a shot at the world title because, like, Jay's got it. So Sammy's got to figure anybody could get it. If Jay has it, he could certainly get it. Solid logic there. I agree. I think he probably should get one championship run. He's been with the company for so long. He's done well. A world title run for Sami Zayn is fine by me. Makes sense. They should give it to him. It'd be great for him. That'd be his crowning achievement. Winning a world title at WrestleMania would be massive. It would be massive. And then maybe Kevin Owens can come back, after neck surgery and all that, after WrestleMania next year, and Sammy, celebrates the world title and Kevin just beats the shit out of him. Classic.
If it could happen, that'd be fun.
I'd love that. I hope he can come back before then, but.
Unfortunately, it didn't start off on the right track, this road to redemption, because clearly the fans are not behind it whatsoever. They got work to do.
Yeah. It was quite a scene on Raw. It was quite a scene. It did not go over well.
They can fix this, but they'll just need to get Roman on Sammy's side, Punk on Sammy's side. They'll need to help get Sammy over more. And clearly, Seth needs to do a better job as a heel because he's horrible right now.
He needs to take some lessons from his wife. Because I thought Becky did a very good job in her promo on Raw this week of making sure that she was the heel and Lyra Valkyria, who's relatively unknown, far more unknown and unloved than Sami Zayn. But Lyra was getting cheered and Becky was getting booed because Becky said the right things and acted the right way. She came out mean face, not slapping hands. She talks about Bayley, buries Bayley. Talks about Bayley whining because she wasn't at WrestleMania. Why she's not a bigger star. She's like, whatever, Bayley, you suck. I've been battling you for years. I don't like you. I took you out. She's like, I'm not going to beat around. I'm telling you straight. I took out Bayley. It was me. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. I'm the reason Bayley wasn't at Mania. She sucks. I hate Bayley. And she tried to save Lyra Valkyria, but Lyra ruined everything by losing the championship. And then Lyra comes out, and the crowd is behind Lyra because Becky was just so despicable, saying such mean things, running down Kansas City. Lyra's like, let's have a match, Becky. Let's wrestle right now. And Becky's like, I don't wrestle in places like Kansas City. They don't deserve me here. Crowd's like, boo, Meanwhile, her husband, who's supposed to be a heel, is like, let's go, Kansas City, sing my song. Watch your wife and learn from her a bit, Seth Rollins. Becky was great. Good promo from Becky. She was a cowardly heel. She was mean. She said mean things. The stuff she said about Bayley was I guess that's long-term planning for when Bayley comes back. I hope that wasn't just a throwaway because The Office decided to bury Bayley for that interview she did that went around. I'm not sure what that was. If there's no payoff to Bayley Becky, what was that?
I think it's going to be Becky and Bayley in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if Becky actually becomes the Intercontinental Champion. I can see that happen.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
it's a belt she hasn't
won.
Makes
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't won. She's a bigger star. It'll put more eyeballs on that title.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I do feel like Lyra's starting to gain some momentum, though. Like, people are starting to care about her. This week in the promo, I was like, I like her. There's something about her. She's doing well.
So sometimes losses actually can be better than wins.
Yeah. We'll see. You got to come back from the loss, though.
Yes.
Rusev cut a weird promo about being lost in the abyss for many years. I guess the abyss was AEW.
He didn't say anything about God, at least.
No, but it was very much like one of those promos he would do in AEW, and it wasn't good.
Very
it was
much.
just as bad as one of those weird AEW promos.
I felt like he used every word not to mention God, like Tempest. And he said Redeemer,
Yes.
but not God. So it very much was an old one.
And his whole thing is, I wasted my talents chasing a woman who was not mine and representing a flag that was not mine. And I have wasted my talents, so now I'm going to come back and punish those who are also wasting their talents by beating the hell out of them. What?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
very
awful.
weird, but it always was weird with him, though.
Yeah,
so.
but it's super weird now. I wasted my talents, so now I'm going to go after the other guys who waste talent. I will crush. I go, what, dude? Why are you doing this? Who is wasting their talent? Is this a babyface thing, or are you a heel? Because you seem to be like a self-help in a mean way. I don't know what the hell this is, but that promo was the drizzling shits. They brought Rusev back for this. I mean, this is what he does, I guess. And it's not great. Could you just get Damian Sandow to do the Rusev Day thing? That's the only thing that ever got him truly over. Damian Sandow. No, wait, it wasn't Damian Sandow. It was fucking Aiden English.
Right.
Yeah. I'm thinking about
The Miz.
Yeah. Which was also great, which, should have kept going forever. But Aiden English with the Rusev Day? Where's that guy?
I think he's a commentator in TNA, if I'm not mistaken.
So bring him over. There you go.
It would work, but I don't think Rusev's supposed to be a face, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah. It's too bad. Because I think the crowd was chanting Rusev Day when he was in the ring last week. They remember.
They were, and I expect them to do it again, but I think he'll be angry when they do it. But he doesn't want it.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of bad. Bunch of bad on Raw and SmackDown this week, right? Everything was bad.
I thought there were some good matches. I felt, was it Rhea Ripley against Roxanne Perez? It was a good match.
Yeah.
No finish, which
No finish.
sucks. I mean, yeah, that's the only problem with that. A good match.
Because of Julia.
Yeah, they got to fix that. Where, again, losses aren't a bad thing. It's okay to have losses every now and then. It's actually better in that case, I think. Roxanne's like, she's sometimes on Raw, sometimes not. Like, does it matter if she loses that match? I don't think so.
Losing to Rhea Ripley is not bad for Roxanne Perez, especially like if she gets some offense in and she has like a competitive match. So what? You lose to Rhea Ripley. It's Rhea bloody Ripley, Exactly. She should have lost. That was dumb. Waste of time.
It's too bad. I didn't mind Stephanie Vaquer. Like, she's all right, but she's up against Ivy Nile. I mean, it's very obvious who's going to win that match. So it was more of just a showcase for Vaquer, I think.
Yeah. And, SmackDown tonight was not much better. Damian Priest, LA Knight wrestled. It went to no contest when Solo just attacked both of them, and Fatu came out and attacked them. Aleister Black beat The Miz in a match that was too long and awful. Then Aleister Black's wife, Zelina Vega, beat Piper Niven in another not great match. Randy Orton cut a promo on John Cena and just was like, Backlash, brother. How about that? Very uneventful SmackDown. SmackDown and Raw this week, John. WWE TV. No John Cena. No Roman Reigns. No CM Punk. No Cody Rhodes. No stars. No movement. Nothing mattered.
Yeah, it wasn't a great week. There's no doubt about that. They need to do better. They can do better, and they're going to get a lot of negative press, obviously, off the releases. So it's going to be a rough week for them overall, I think.
Mania was trash. Universally panned. People did not like WrestleMania. And now we're in a post-Mania hangover with no stars, everybody taking time off, and it's even worse. You say they can do better, but they were supposed to have done better 3 weeks ago at WrestleMania.
I felt we had some hope with SmackDown last week. I really enjoyed SmackDown last week. So there's still some hope left out there. They can put together, hopefully by maybe Backlash. I think there's potential there with Backlash.
Cena Randy's going to be interesting no matter what.
That, I think the 4-way could be pretty good. And fingers crossed on whatever happens with Tiffany and Nia. I mean, that's not impossible. It might not be bad.
If it's on Backlash at all.
If it is, well.
I think at Saturday night's main event, quite frankly, John, because it's the night before Backlash. You're going to do the number one contenders match, Nia and Jade, and then the next night have them wrestle Tiffany. It seems to make more sense if you let them wait a couple weeks and do the match at Saturday night's main event, or even on SmackDown.
You're not wrong, but again, we'll wait and see. Only 4 matches. I mean, yikes. That's rough that they're only running 4 matches. I get it. The fans would be happy that they could see Randy and Cena, but 4 matches. It's very rough that you're doing that for 3 hours.
I think they could add another match. Like, how about AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title?
Sure, that'd be fun. I wouldn't mind that.
It seems to be where they're going with AJ and Dominic. They're going to do a match at some point.
Again, though, it just feels like so out of nowhere. Like, we had, one promo from this past week? That was it? Like,
yeah. Also,
should be built.
Speaking of that promo, John, did you notice that, like, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez come in with their women's tag team championships? Dominic Mysterio comes in with his Intercontinental title, right? They go to talk to Nick Aldis because he's the GM for the night because Adam Pearce is not there. Liv Morgan is like, hey, I have to go film a movie, so I'm going to be taking time off. That's cool, right? And Nick Aldis is like, yes, of course. It's all been cleared. It's all fine, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Dominic Mysterio is like, yeah, I also need to take time off because, I'm the champ and I can do what I want. And Nick Aldis is like, no, actually, when you're the champion, you have to work twice as hard and you have to do even more. And I'm like, but Liv and Raquel are champions, and you just gave them time. What? So I guess if you're a champion in WWE, you have to work extra hard and do even more, unless somebody calls you to be in a movie, in which case, screw your title in the WWE. Go do movies, because that's way more important. Like, that's the message that they're sending.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Hollywood, higher. Wrestling, so much lower than Hollywood. Like, of course.
It's disgusting. That shouldn't be the attitude in WWE. Especially when you're doing a promo. When you're a champion, you have to work twice. You can't get time off. You just gave Liv time. She's standing right there with a belt on her shoulder. What do you mean? It was crazy. I was like, wait, what? What are you saying to him? You realize the hypocrisy there, right? Like, what is happening? Who booked this shit? Insane.
What's funny, all this is supposed to be a babyface thing. Did that? That's even funnier. However, he made it up tonight because he actually said it tonight, word for word, verbatim. We're gonna have a tag team match tonight, player.
Did he say player?
He said that. He said player, and he looked at the camera too. I didn't like the whole looking at the camera and nodding kind of thing, but
yeah.
I don't like that. But I like that he said player.
Yeah, whenever you do like a promo and there's like 4 people and they all have a problem with each other and you make the tag team match playa for SmackDown, you got to just say playa. I say it. We all say it. Because that's what Teddy Long used to say. I mean, people maybe don't know, but Teddy Long was a longtime general manager of SmackDown, and it would just happen every week where he would come out, people would be fighting, and he'd be like, hold up, holla, holla. Tonight we're going to have a tag team match, player. You two, the Hardys, are going to face Kane and the Big Show. And you're like, oh, okay. Kane and the Big Show. It's Kane! And you're like, oh, no, it's Kane. Here he comes. He's going to kill everybody. It was great. But he would always do a tag team match, player. Holla, holla, we're going to have a 6-man tag team match, player. Oh, Teddy Long. He was the best GM in SmackDown history, by far. He should still be the GM. He should have been GM for life. He's still alive. Until he died, GM. But, yeah, it was good that Nick Aldis said tag team match, player. Because you have to say it. You're the GM of SmackDown. It's like, it's called the gorilla position. You know, it's named after Gorilla Monsoon. He's not there anymore. He's long dead, but it's still the gorilla position. If you make a tag team match on SmackDown and you're the GM, you have to say playa. It's just a matter of respect. Tag team match, playa. You got to say playa. Holla, holla. You should probably add a holla, holla when you leave. Right? We're going to have a tag team match, playa. Holla, holla. And then you just leave. Just do Teddy Long. Just do the lines. That's what I
really think players enough, but, you know.
Holla, holla once in a while wouldn't have hurt, Sean. Nick Aldis in his British accent saying, holla, holla. I'd like that. I would enjoy that once in a while. Not every time, you know?
We'll find out next week when we get another tag match out of nowhere.
We will, and we definitely will, because we've seen SmackDown before, and we know how it works. It's a formula, and it's tired and old, because they're still doing it, and Teddy Long hasn't been GM in, 5-10 years?
I mean, to be fair, it's 3 hours now. It's hard not to do it now.
Yeah. Well, it's not like Dynamite, a 2-hour show, is that much more creative, because we watched that this week, and they just did a giant tag team match at the beginning, and it took up 40 minutes.
And they have their thing. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. We always get that every time to start the show.
Every time. Sometimes it's Saturday. You know what that means. Yeah, I know
it's
what
true.
it means.
They have done that.
Oh, yeah. I've heard them say, you know what that means, for many nights. You know what that means. I get it. It's a tribute to Brody Lee, and I respect it, and it's fine. But, it's annoying at some point. It's kind of all right, I know what it means. You open the show every time like that. It's a little...
I'd keep it for Dynamite. I wouldn't have it for every other show. But...
Yeah, when I heard it was Saturday and you know what that means, I was like, we're doing you know what that means for Saturday too, guys? Let's do Dynamite. Dynamite. When's Wednesday? You know what that means. It's good enough. Excalibur.
You know what it meant this week? The All-Star Tag Team match. That's what it meant for Dynamite this week.
They've been doing that a lot. They're just let's put a bunch of people that are stars in the company in a tag team match, 8-man tag or 10-man tag or whatever, and let's call it an All-Star Tag Team match. This isn't the first All-Star Tag Team match. And let me tell you, the All-Star Tag Team match is a lot like an All-Star game. It has all the elements, it has all the stars, but it sucks because it means nothing. It's actually aptly named All-Star Tag Team Match because it feels like, an all-star game in football or baseball or something, the Pro Bowl doesn't mean shit. The baseball all-star game doesn't mean anything. Hockey figured it out this year. That was a good job on them, finally figuring something out, doing the little tournament thing. That was cool.
Well,
but a regular all-star game, Western Conference versus Eastern Conference, that was such a tired concept that they gave it up. And AEW is let's do that. Let's do a similar thing to that. That's what the All-Star Tag Match feels like. It feels like an all-star game. It feels like the Major League Baseball All-Star game, which, is not, it doesn't mean anything. You have all the stars there, like all the best players are there. Kenny Omega's there, the Young Bucks, Mike Bailey. It was cool, but it took forever, and it really didn't mean anything in the end. Okada pinned Mark Briscoe. Of course he did.
It's funny, like when I turn on Dynamite, I'm like, did I put on like 2 weeks ago Dynamite or something? Like, no, seriously, I was like, do I have the right Dynamite here? Because I feel like I've seen this before, right? Like you'd said. But then I watched it, and I'm like, no, wait, no, that's right, because it wasn't this exact format. It wasn't Mark Briscoe. I don't think was involved in this. So yeah, it was. It is this. This is right. It's 4. It's not 3 or something. I think 4. So it makes sense this time. But we've seen this kind of before, but it was nice, like you said. You had a bunch of the stars, Kenny Omega, the Bucks, right off the start. That's not too bad.
Yeah,
and there was some very nice spots involved. A cool like splash, I think, on Bailey, and I think there was like a senton on the outside on Omega.
Yeah,
or vice versa. Whatever.
Yeah, from the Bucks there, Nick Jackson did like the senton on Kenny when they were like holding him. That was cool.
That was amazing. There were some very cool moments, and then they did the double Meltzer driver too as well. Like there were some very good moments in this match, but that's kind of what it was. It was just all over the place, crazy moments. Make fun of Ricochet because he's bald. Have a fun moment, spot moment.
Yeah.
All do suplexes. It wasn't really. It didn't feel like a wrestling match. It just felt more of like a spot show.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it mattered, especially the making fun of Ricochet because he's bald. Matt Jackson like smacked him on his head.
Did,
and they were a tag team. They were part of the same team. And after he smacked him on his head, Kenny smacked him on his head, and then the babyface team proceeded to just beat up Ricochet for 2-3 minutes, while the Young Bucks and Okada just kind of stood ringside, not even on the apron, just kind of watching Ricochet get beat. And you're like, do the Bucks want to win this match? I guess they don't care because they're hitting their tag team partner, and they're letting him just get assaulted by 4 men over there, and they're not doing anything. It was just weird, and it just made you remember, like, oh, this is all fake, and they're just playing around, and they're just trying to be funny. I didn't like that. I didn't like that moment at all. I thought that was very... I don't know. It was like... It took me out of the match. I was like, why'd he hit him? They're supposed to be a team.
I didn't really think of it much as a match. As more of them just they have spots they want to do and they're going to do it. And
yeah, but it was more just that's not right. When you're watching it and you don't even think of it as a match, it's just doing spots. Like, what is that?
I'm just having fun. But the thing is too, like that's on national television too, and it's like that's how you start your show. I question that a little bit, but again, when you're in charge, you can do what you want. And this is kind of them possibly taking liberties, it seemed like.
It was a good 30, 40-minute match. Took forever.
At least?
Yeah. It was at least a quarter of the show. Almost half the show. It was Kenny Omega, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Mark Briscoe losing to the Young Bucks, Okada, and Ricochet. Okada hitting the Rainmaker on Briscoe for the pin. And then, like, the show didn't get better.
Oh, no, it did. It got much better, actually.
It did?
Well, we're jumping ahead here.
Well, hold on. Let's not jump too far ahead. Because the Ops, Samoan Joe, Will Hobbs, and Shibata beat 3 guys.
I believe Nick Camarado was one of them.
Yeah. The 3 jabronis.
Yes.
Pretty quickly. And then Jon Moxley and his crew came out and attacked. And then Joe and his team sent him packing. And Joe cut a promo and said, if we're going to wrestle for the world title, I know you want to wrestle me because I beat you. We'll do it in a steel cage. So, steel cage match for the world title. Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley set for Double or Nothing. I guess? Double or Nothing?
No,
they haven't made it official.
I think it's in 2 weeks. It won't be Double or Nothing. It'll be on Dynamite in 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because Double or Nothing is going to be Anarchy in the Arena.
Oh, okay. Anarchy in the Arena. So it'll be, right, the Ops with other guys against Moxley's crew?
Yeah.
Who do we think the Ops are going to team with? Kenny and Mark Briscoe, maybe?
Something like that. And then we thought Mox's group would team with the Bucks.
Yeah. Probably. So Moxley, Joe in a cage for the world title on Dynamite. Like, okay. So?
Well, I think that could be a very good match.
Could be.
I hope they give Joe a better match leading into it, because this wasn't much of anything to have. Like, he didn't even finish the match. I think it was Hobbs that just finished the match out of nowhere. So they need to give him something else to warm him up to that world title match, I think.
Nobody believes he's going to win, though.
I mean, if it was on Double or Nothing, I think you have a better chance. But yeah, if it's just going to be a Dynamite, very slim, next to none.
Yeah. Then some other stuff happened. Toni Storm beat Miyu Yamashita.
It was nice
And
kicks to the butts on Tony. I don't know if you saw that.
What?
Like Namashita, like kicked her in the butt a bunch of time.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Okay. Whatever. And then Mercedes Moné came out, and Jamie Hayter came out, and the winner of their match at Double or Nothing will go on to face Toni Storm at All In.
That's right.
That's the Owen Hart Cup Tournament final. Mercedes Moné, Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter beating Chris Statlander last week to advance, and Mercedes Moné beating Athena. So that is being set up. Hopefully it's Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm at All In, because that is one of the biggest matches you could do in AEW right now, so they got to do that. They got to.
We talked about this last week too. Like, I mean, more than likely that's the match to make. But Jamie Hayter does have a lot of history with Toni Storm, so it's not impossible for that to happen. But I would think the betting odds would say Mercedes. She hasn't lost yet in AEW. Why lose now?
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go.
I don't think losing to Mercedes hurts Toni Storm at all either. I think it helps because the rematch will be bigger.
We'll wait till All In.
What?
We'll wait and see. We got to get to All In for that to happen, right? So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, but come on. It's going to be Mercedes and Toni. It has to be. I need to see that.
You're saying Mercedes is going to beat Toni. I don't know about that. I think Toni might win that one.
Yeah, I think Mercedes could beat Toni.
Oh, she could. But I don't know about it.
I think she should.
Maybe. We'll wait and see.
I would put her over. Anyhow, MJF wants to know if he's in the Hurt Syndicate again, so he has them do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, and Shelton's got a thumbs up, and MVP's got a thumbs up, and Bobby Lashley again, thumbs down, and then MJF is really mad, and he's like, what do I gotta do? Give you a Rogaine, you bald bastard, what the hell's wrong with you? And then Bobby, like, grabs MJF and puts him in a corner, and he's like, "Rrr," and MJF's like, I'm sorry, Bobby, please let me go. And MVP's like, don't do that, don't do that. And he's like, what do I have to do? And Bobby's like, we hurt people. You have to hurt someone to join us. And MJF's like, okay, I'll hurt someone. And you're like, all right. Is this like the Blackpool Combat Club? Like, what is this? You have to beat somebody up to join the gang? Like, what? MJS has been offering them cars and women and money and everything, and now Bobby finally has made it clear that he's like, that stuff was cool, I guess, but I really want to see you hurt someone. I mean, you've seen his matches, right? He's won some matches, hurt some people. He's a wrestler. He's a former world champion in AEW, like you've seen, right? What do you mean hurt people? It's like beat somebody severely, injure somebody, kill somebody. Like, what are you talking about? What the hell? Like, this whole thing to culminate in, you have to hurt somebody. It's like, what the fuck? That was weak as hell.
Well, I think it was based off of what we saw earlier with the Hurt Syndicate. You saw that they were like accosted by a bunch of random people, and then they took care of said random people.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what they expect MJF to do.
Who were those guys just like, oh, what's up, Hurt Syndicate? Who were those jabroni guys just there to get beat up? What the hell was that?
Like some of the smallest and weirdest haircut guys you'll ever meet, I think. It was very weird.
Why would they do that? It made
I don't
no
know.
sense.
I don't know. I guess just so they can throw them around, and which they did. That was awkward the way Bobby like threw the guy into the wall. Like the guy just like, oh, and then like, very weird how that happened. And then just slightly throw him in that laundry cart. Like threw him like crazy in the wall, but just gently into that laundry cart. I guess maybe he threw him too hard in the wall, possibly.
Yeah, he felt bad. But who were those guys like getting in the Hurt Syndicate's face? Like, why would you do that? Who are those guys backstage in AEW? Why are they there? And what the hell was that? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I've always found that having extras at shows, they stand out too much. You really have to limit that. And we're seeing it way too much in all wrestling shows. And I'm sure a lot of guys are be like, shut your mouth right now, because that gives them a spot. It gives them payday. But wrestling shows have to stop doing it because it looks bad.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time.
It's like, stop using these guys as security.
Well, they weren't even security here. They were just
guys
people.
in like business casual. You know?
Weird.
Here are
Very
four
weird.
random guys with weird haircuts and business casual. I wonder where we got these guys from. 4 slightly jacked guys. Not really. They're AEW guys, so they don't have to be jacked, right? If you're AEW extras, you could just be skinny fat. Get on the show.
Well, Bobby looked fantastic. I have to always say that, though. He looked amazing.
Yeah. He's jacked, baby. Okay, main event was actually good, though. It was Hangman Page and Kyle Fletcher, with Hangman getting the win and advancing to the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, where he will face Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing on May 25th. And the winner gets an AEW title shot at All In. So that's good that happened. We expected Hangman to win. Match was solid. And now we get to see Hangman Ospreay with a world title shot at the biggest show of the year on the line. Nice.
Yeah, I expect Ospreay to win, but it's still a very good match, and I think it's the main reason now to watch Double or Nothing. I can't think of any other match that they're going to have where it's like, yeah, that's the match I really want to see. I mean, I know they'll have Anarchy in the Arena, but I'm not really big into watching it. It's something to watch, but it's not the reason to watch. I think Ospreay and Hangman, that might be the reason to watch Double or Nothing.
Might be match of the year.
Potential. I mean, they're both very good. And again, Hangman and Fletcher, very good. That brain buster off the apron was crazy. And they did a tombstone off it. And by the way, like Fletcher got busted up on his back when he got thrown into the barricade.
Yeah,
that was
crazy.
Rough.
It was a
But he
rough
battled
cut.
through it.
Yeah.
Battled through it.
That was a bad gash on his back. Yikes.
It
Hell of a
happened.
match.
It's happened to me before. I know that feeling. It's rough, but you just battle through it.
Yeah. That's happened to you before? On what?
Or just hitting the corner. Like there's something that just would stick out and like scratched up my whole back. Pretty bad.
Like the ring corner?
Yeah.
In the ring? Like the buckle?
Yeah, in the ring. Just hitting the buckle.
What happened what was on the buckle?
I think there was like a piece of metal or something sticking out from one of the corners, and yeah, not fun.
Ouch.
Not fun.
Tough life being a pro wrestler, brother. Tough life.
Well, I think on that barricade was probably much worse. Whatever was sticking out on that one, that
Yeah.
cut him
It's
up there.
Big, long gash in his back. Bleeding. It was bad.
I think it was the top of the barricade. Whatever it was maybe exposed, and I guess something was sticking out that just completely cut him straight through.
They got to fix that.
Well, yeah, I think it's something that is very rare that can happen and sadly happens. So I think they can fix it, and I don't think it's something we'll see again. I would hope.
Yeah. Okay. How about Dark Side of the Ring, John? This week was on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. It's pretty good.
Well, I enjoyed it because I didn't watch a lot of the early ECW stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to find out about how it pretty much began was because of Eddie Gilbert. That was very informative. And then to find out about his career, like I always hear stories about it, but didn't really delve deep into all that stuff.
Yeah.
So to learn about him and his brother too, his whole family too, that was very interesting. And I knew that he was married once, but I didn't know he got married twice. And to Medusa, of all people. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was married to Medusa. I didn't know much about Eddie Gilbert. Like, I'd heard the name, but I never, like, he died when we were both pretty young, right?
Yeah.
And, like, he was a star, when, you know, in places that we weren't watching and we were too young to even see, like when he was really making his name in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
But he was a guy who was definitely over and had a great mind for the business and booked in a lot of different territories and really wanted to be a booker and was really into doing that. Different things happened, didn't quite work out in certain situations, and different drug issues as well. But it seemed like just a heart defect in the end that led to his heart attack. Not necessarily because of drugs or whatever. It seemed like maybe he had a heart issue because he had a really bad car crash where part of his heart was like damaged, right?
Right.
And he died of a heart attack. So they're saying maybe it was some drug abuse going on as well, but it seemed like more the damage from the heart. And he died at like, was he 30 or something?
32, I think they said.
God.
Yeah, it's very sad. And what's, I think, even sadder, just like how innovative he was. And possibly he was too soon for his time. The fact that he was doing all those like hardcore wrestling kind of brawls and so early in the 80s, where it was very much a cartoon kind of world of wrestling, I could see where people would be like, oh, how could you do something like that? Where if you just fast forward a couple of years later, that was the in thing. So it just seemed like he was ahead of his time in terms of what you should be doing in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like just a few years ahead of his time. And the timing for him didn't quite work out. But if he would have stayed alive, he died at 33 years old. If he would have stayed alive, another 5-10 years, he might have seen the fruits of some of that labor. He might have been able to get really over in ECW, and then who knows, that leads to a WWE run, and then all of a sudden you're in the Hall of Fame and you're making money and you're part of the office because you're a booker and you got a mind for the business. You know what I mean? Like, if he's still alive today, he's probably working for WWE in the office with a good job. You know what I'm saying? Like, a guy like that, one of the originals of ECW, if he stays alive, he stays in ECW for a while, has a little run, gets over, all of a sudden, he's a name. WWE brings him in. He's booking. He's getting, like, look at Tommy Dreamer, what he was able to parlay ECW into. Office job for WWE for many years. Like, you can get in and you can do all sorts of stuff. Devon Dudley. You know what I'm saying? You can go from one step to the other. And Eddie Gilbert was, like, right on the cusp of having a good, solid career and job in the wrestling business for his whole life, and then passed away. He was married to Missy Hyatt and Medusa. That's a good brother right there. That's a good brother.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I could be about this. Apparently, the Missy Hyatt relationship, it didn't end too well, and there's a big reason why Missy Hyatt was not involved in this episode whatsoever.
Oh,
so
which is
that? Well, it got a little violent at times.
Oh,
and I'm not saying it was all him too. So
okay. Yeah, well, Medusa seemed to have very nice things to say about Eddie Gilbert. It seemed quite sad. Like, they broke up, but they seemed to still have a good relationship, and she was quite sad that he had passed away, and it's so long ago, but the emotions are obviously still there. Her interview, I thought, was the best and was the most touching and compelling of the whole show.
Well, I thought she was good. I thought Mick Foley was good. Mick Foley was kind of brief, but it felt like Mick Foley kind of really put over that he was kind of important, and it helped build him as well, having him around.
Yeah.
It built a lot of guys, if you think about it, too. Like they said, like he helped make the Sandman who he was.
Mm-hmm. Very influential. Very influential for what became, hardcore wrestling, a big era in pro wrestling, and he was just, he died just before it all blew up. He died in 95. Wow. 2-3 years later, the business would be totally different. Way more money. And, who knows what he could have gotten out of it. You know what I'm saying? If he's 35 in 1997, Eddie Gilbert's making money.
Maybe, but it felt like he had a rift with Paul Heyman, and that might have been a problem for him. Yeah, and they didn't elaborate too much on it because Heyman obviously didn't do this. We heard a snippet of an interview with Heyman, putting over Eddie Gilbert, but clearly there were issues because Eddie came to an ECW show he wasn't supposed to, and Heyman cut his mic, and clearly there were problems. I understand that. Eddie was in the wrong
Gordon
with that.
buried Heyman for that, though, right?
That too.
Todd Gordon's interviewed on that one, and it's Eddie was he was mad and he quit, and then he was booked for a match, but we replaced him, but then he called back and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'd like to wrestle," and they're like, "Well, we replaced you, so," and he's like, "Okay, well, maybe I'll just come and say goodbye to the fans because I guess I'll leave now." And then Todd Gordon, who was the owner of ECW at the time, was like, "Yeah, okay." But Paul Lee was the booker. And when Eddie Gilbert went out to do his promo, that Todd Gordon is telling us on this Dark Side of the Ring, he was authorized to do it. And then he was saying bye to the fans, and it was all good. And then Paul Lee cut his mic. And I was like, why is Heyman cutting his mic? Why is he doing that? He totally buried Heyman for doing that, saying Heyman was sabotaging Eddie Gilbert for some reason. But you could kind of see Heyman's perspective, Eddie Gilbert's not with the company. He's volatile. He just quit. Now he's on a live mic. He might go into business for himself. Let's cut his mic before anything bad happens for this company we're trying to start. I get why Heyman would cut his mic, but Todd Gordon didn't give that side of the story at all. He was just doing a nice speech to the fans, saying goodbye, and Heyman cut his mic. How could he do that? It was pretty good. I like that. Heyman's obviously not on the show to defend himself, just getting buried. Get him. He's a stooge anyways.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Dark Side of the Ring Paul Heyman. I'd be very surprised if we don't get one day.
We should.
We definitely should.
We should, man. All that shit that happened in ECW under his watch, all those people that didn't get paid while he was taking money from Vince. Come on, man. Come on. How are we going to act like Paul Heyman is a good guy? The fact that he has completely changed his image and reputation in the professional wrestling business over the past 20 years is amazing. Good for him. But those of us who remember history and those of us who've seen the whole story of Paul Heyman know that he is a lying weasel scumbag who fucking stiffed a lot of people on a lot of paydays. And his name was Dirt for a long time. Tommy Dreamer wanted to murder him on live television at WrestleMania. So
yeah,
there's that.
it's sad. It's
true,
very
though.
sad. Yeah, well, I don't know if Tommy might be going a little bit too much into like his little drama storyline there,
Maybe.
but whatever.
But still, Heyman, was not great in ECW. And who knows what happened with Eddie Gilbert and their relationship. But Eddie Gilbert did a shoot interview back in like 94. And Cornette on Dark Side of the Ring was like, people were mad at him for doing that because people didn't do shoot interviews back then. But then like 2-3 years later, everybody did one. So people couldn't believe he was exposing the business. But it's like, well, in 3-4 years, everybody would be doing these interviews for money. Ahead of his time once again. And in the interview, he's asked what happened with Heyman. And he's like, I guess I just taught him too well.
I mean, if you think about it, Eddie opened the doors for like shows like this to happen, because we wouldn't talk so openly about it if he didn't open that door first. Because once he opened that door, then the floodgates kind of opened, actually.
Yeah, I think we would, though. People might not understand what we were saying as much as they do now, but I think we'd still be talking about wrestling in a similar way.
We definitely go into business for ourselves, like we always do, anyway. So, of course.
Yeah, we have to. That's the point.
Well, it's just the way we operate. We just speak how we feel.
Well, it's a shoot, WWE isn't paying the bills, so it's a shoot. We're going to tell it like it is, or at least how we think it is.
That's what people want to hear. It's been pretty good for a couple of years now, so.
We've done all right. This is episode 731.
Crazy. Number just keeps going up.
Yeah, well, we keep doing shows. The number will keep going up. That's usually how it works. Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable!
I'm not on all the shows, but I try to make them.
You're on the important ones, John. The ones that count are the ones with you.
There you go. That's good to say.
All right. When's your next wrestling match? When can people see you beating people up in the ring?
So I'm back in Montreal finally. Next Saturday, May 10th, where apparently everything's happening May 10th. But May 10th, Theater Paradox in Montreal. Bell time 7 p.m. Doors open 6 p.m. Torch Chamber Pro Wrestling presents Pandemonium 3. Torch Chamber Wrestling's biggest show of the year. So check it out at Paradox Theater's website. You can get tickets. Or just go to the Paradox Theater actually there and get tickets there. At doors open 6 p.m. next Saturday.
Do it. Go see Johnny. He's the best. And I'll be back Thursday.
Oh, nothing this weekend. Wow. No. Weekend off.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Rare.
And next weekend, I think I'm going to get two birds stoned at once with the UFC pay-per-view and Backlash going on at the same time. So then I have more weekends off after that.
It might be a long weekend next weekend.
I might skip it.
You have no AJ next weekend. You have no me. You have no AJ next week.
Yeah, I have no you. I have no AJ. I might have no Fred. We might do nothing, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan in place. Backlash, I feel like, deserves a post-show because it'll be all right. That UFC pay-per-view barely deserves like a preview, let alone a watch-along. It's such a bad pay-per-view. Like, I don't even know if I want to watch it. So we'll see.
Just one thing. Angelo said apparently it's on the Sheik next week. I believe they said it's Billy Jack Haynes next week, if not mistaken.
Okay. I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but I think that's the next episode for Dark Side of the Ring. We'll find out next week. I think it's Billy Jack.
I'll probably tell you. Season 6.
That's what we're in.
Billy Jack Haynes is next week. Then they're doing the original Sheik.
Okay.
Then they're doing Daphne.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Well, to be fair, though, the Billy Jack thing, I don't know if you know everything about Billy Jack. That's some dark stuff. Like, I think Billy Jack might be the darkest episode that we will watch this season.
You think?
Yeah, because I know a bit about Billy Jack, but just what he's been doing more recently. I don't know everything. I'm sure there's probably more that I don't know about, but there's a lot of darkness and sadness with Billy Jack, and
Oh my
I
God.
don't believe it. Oh, maybe you're reading about it, possibly now. Possibly.
Oh my God. He murdered his wife last year?
Yes.
Allegedly.
So, he's in prison right now for it.
He's in jail now awaiting trial.
But apparently they interviewed him. They interviewed him in jail for the Dark Side episode.
Jeez.
So that's gonna be something to watch next week.
Yeah. So Billy Jack Haynes next week. Yikes. Then the original Sheik. Then Daphne. And then they're ending it. The final episode, John, of the season, May 27th. Muhammad Hassan.
Huh. Interesting episode to end it with.
I can't wait for that. What a run, brother. What a run. All that shit with The Undertaker was classic. The final day of Muhammad Hassan. When they decide to run the Muhammad Hassan Undertaker like mock terrorism martyr segment on the day of the London terrorist bombing. They're like, air it anyway, pal. It's in England. What nuts. And then the backlash afterwards. And then WWE having to be like, oh, thank you. WWE being like, wow, let's scrap the whole gimmick. Let's fire him. You know? That was nuts. Like, that's what happened, right? I have the sequence of events correct. They aired this crazy angle with, like, masked men carrying off a guy. And then it was, like, very terrorism, Al-Qaeda type deal. And then there was a bombing. But they had taped SmackDown already. And they didn't edit it. And they aired it anyways. And then they got backlash for it. So then they scrapped the Muhammad Hassan gimmick. They're like, that's enough. Too controversial. But they could have, you know, worked around it. But they're like, meh. Let's air it anyways. Right? They did do that, right?
Well, I remember we were talking about this. Like, we weren't on doing a show at the time, but we were just talking, just wherever we were at, talking, saying, like, hey, you hear about this? They apparently did this at SmackDown, and it probably won't air, though, but this happened during the tapings.
Right.
And then they actually aired it on a tape show on the day of, like you said.
Yeah.
It was insane. I couldn't believe it.
And then everybody was like, what the hell are you doing? And then they're like, oh, he doesn't exist.
Well, then they said it's
then they
fictional.
fired the guy. They're like, it's not his fault.
Well, no, they destroyed him on the pay-per-view because they're leading to that match, right?
Okay.
So they had The Undertaker destroy him on the pay-per-view, and then they fired him afterwards.
Didn't they fire him, like, very quickly?
Not too long afterward. I want to say maybe they gave it a month or so. Like, they kind of tried to do it as discreetly as possible, but...
Nuts.
Yeah.
And, of course, Muhammad Hassan was Mark Julian Capani from Syracuse, New York. An Italian guy.
He was Italian. Yeah. Great tan. Clearly.
Yeah, great tan. Sometimes Italian guys can tan real good and get a little beard, and you might think their name's Muhammad Hassan, I guess. I can't wait for that episode. I'm very much looking forward to that because I don't think that's going to be sad. Like the Eddie Gilbert episode, sad. Billy Jack Haynes episode, there's a murder of like an old lady, sad. Original Sheik, probably just kind of fun. I don't know if there's any sad stories, maybe abuse. He seemed mean, but I don't know. Probably fine. Daphne, sad, gonna be really sad. Not looking forward to that. But then Muhammad Hassan is just gonna be like, look how crazy WWE was. This is great. I love when they do just like, hey, look at some fucked up shit WWE did. Wasn't this fucked up? How crazy are they? That's my favorite. Because I go, yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. It's good. Feels good.
They did this last season, too. Didn't they end it with Black Saturday, I think? No?
Yeah. The Rise of Vince, Black Saturday. I love that. Just like, look how crazy Vince was. Look at some crazy shit Vince did. They need to do more episodes. Could we do like a show called Crazy Shit Vince Did? I guess they did a Netflix series about that called Mr. McMahon.
Well, wasn't at the end of that Black Saturday, they kind of buried Vince at the end of it, didn't they? Like saying Vince was going for trial or something? Or
yeah.
They brought up Janelle Grant, didn't they?
Yeah.
Episode, yeah.
Yeah. Because that was that episode released at the height of all that, so they had to include it.
They didn't have to, but they did anyway.
It's a good move.
Why not?
Why not? Add it in there. It's good for context of who the guy is, you know?
Oh, what about the now there's new names added now. Well, for the sexual harassment lawsuit against WWE.
Not surprised.
Coco Beware has been added. Coco Beware, I was expecting that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No.
I mean, Pat Patterson, I mean, that was a given, right? But apparently Coco Beware.
What do you mean? He's being accused?
Apparently there was an incident.
Ring Boy lawsuit. Oh my God, there's a new Ring Boy lawsuit.
This is breaking news again.
The Ring Boys. The Ring Boys are filing a new lawsuit. Mel Phillips, former ring announcer Mel Phillips, Pat Patterson, and Coco Beware is being accused of abusing teen boys recruited for ring crew duty in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yep.
Post Wrestling is reporting. Hold on a minute, playa. That Pat Patterson and Coco Beware are being named as abusers. Coco Beware.
I mean, Pat forced someone for oral sex, if I'm not mistaken.
Allegedly.
And allegedly.
Dog.
And
this is why they inducted Coco in the Hall of Fame. Motherfucker kept his mouth shut. There's no other reason why.
Interesting theory.
Why is this guy in the Hall of Fame? Why did they induct this guy in the Hall of Fame? It made no sense to anybody, and it still doesn't. But now it does. If him and Pat were buddies, hey, keep your mouth shut, okay, Coco?
Well, from what it says, like it seems like the Coco thing is a separate issue from Pat.
Great. So it wasn't like a few guys saying, "Hey, let's do this together." It was like several guys doing it on their own. Different guys working for the company got their own idea of like, "Hey, let's abuse young boys." Like, what? What?
I'm not saying it's great.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's sad. It's very sad.
God damn, man. Well, Pat Patterson, you heard rumors about for years. Different things, different improprieties. But Coco Beware.
Yeah, surprising. I mean, you never would have suspected that, but...
Hold on a minute, player.
Can't believe it.
Teddy's got it right on that one.
Hold on.
What a week it's been. What a week it's been. I mean, maybe Raw and SmackDown weren't interesting, but there's definitely interesting wrestling news happening all the time.
You know what Coco Beware's catchphrase was that you never heard?
Yes, boy!
Yeah, I didn't hear that one ever from Coco, actually.
No, he was saying yes to boys.
Yes, boy!
Can you dig it? Okay, show's over. That's enough. This is getting out of hand. I am disgusted. I am disgusted. I hope that bird eats Coco. Is Coco still alive?
Coco, I believe, is. I don't.
Well, I'm glad his bird is dead.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Thank you. I don't know if that's directed at us or at Coco Beware. Maybe it's us. We tried our best.
Not Larry. R.I.P. Larry.
We tried our best. Shout out Angelo Contagonis. Shout out Jason Pete. Leor. CSL Lorne, and all the members over at join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net is how you support the channel. Merch.ringsidereport.net. Membership.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel any way you can. Like this video, leave a comment. Just be cool. Be cool. Keep watching. We like that you're watching. That's nice. Supporting is nice. Liking videos is nice. Subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. That's also nice. Do something nice for us.
Ball game over.
We're nice
Yankees
guys.
win. The Yankees win.
Let's win another one tomorrow. Right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.